ready?
Yep.
Hello everybody, welcome to Station Break. I am your host, Cassidy Quinn. We are here in Studio 30 at KGW News in Portland. Did you know that's what it was called?
I can't get over just the name alone. Like Station Break, Studio 30, we're basically in the old sports closet, just in case you're wondering.
Yeah, we're in a closet with windows,
It does have
though.
windows.
So
There's
it's
that.
very scenic. We can look out over the newsroom. This is the podcast where every Friday we go behind the scenes here at KGW so you can learn a little bit about what happens at the TV station, what goes on behind the scenes, and who are the people, some of which you see on TV every day, like the lovely woman sitting next to me.
Thank you.
This is Steph Stricklen. She anchors KGW News at Sunrise.
Yes.
Is that the official title?
I think so. They seem to change it, and then I always get it wrong. That's like asking me how old I am. I'm usually off by a year. Any of that kind of stuff. I can't get it straight. So
I just know it's on before I'm awake in the morning.
unless she's filling in, and then
Yes.
she's there bright and early.
Which happens sometimes, and I used to be on that shift.
Oh, it's brutal.
Most of the time when I was on that shift, you weren't on it, though.
Right.
So you are fairly... No, now you're not new at all to that shift. It's been a year.
It's been, yeah, it'll be a year and a couple of months so far.
Ooh.
And I went there by choice. So I used to do the 4 and the 7 p.m., as you know. But I wanted to go to morning so I could spend more time with my family. But I am still not used to the getting up at 3 in the morning to go to work. That is rough, you guys. That's not, normal people don't do that.
Is that when you get up?
Yes. And I should get up at 2:30, but I cannot. I physically can't. I will die. If I have to get out of bed at 2:30, like something better be on fire.
Well, we don't want you to die.
Thanks.
There was some weird noise coming out of our camera recording, but I think it stopped. So, hooray!
We came up with this crazy workaround. We grabbed these huge foam blocks in here and like tried to bury the camera in it. We are high tech, and I tell you what, Team Us, high five.
Yeah!
Because we have got this covered. We figured it out.
You know, at least we are the ones that use social media, so I like to think we could be tech savvy. I don't know. Those things are not related.
No.
So do you do all of your primping, getting ready at work or at home?
I do, because if I do it at home, I'd wake everybody up. And I'm really fast. I can go from like Jodie Foster no makeup to Jodie Foster red carpet in 10 minutes. I am so, in fact, even Brenda's like, wow, because she sees me at 15 after looking like I just ran a marathon, sweaty face and whatever, and then I pop out on the set and man, it's not perfect. Like, it's a nice wide shot, so it doesn't have to be flawless, but it's good enough for that type of TV.
I wish that would just soak into me, because I curl my hair every once in a while for work, but it's only on the days where I know I have a lot of extra time, where I'm like, oh, I don't have to leave for another 45 minutes, because that's how long it will take me to curl my hair.
But here's the thing. I'm going to reach out and just touch your hair, which I know is, we're just going to get rid of all boundaries. So do you feel like you have such thick hair? Now reach out and grab mine. Just feel that? No hair.
Oh, okay.
No hair means the curl stays pretty much all day.
And there's
that's
less
the secret.
to
And there's
curl.
less to curl. It takes me 5 minutes.
Because I remember when I was on the afternoon shift with you, when you were on the 4 p.m. show, I would see you'd go for a walk and you would be wet. Your hair was wet.
I know.
And then 10 minutes later,
poof, ready for TV.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Special skills that should be on your resume. How long have you been at KGW for?
I almost, more than 15 years.
Wow.
Can you believe that? Yeah. When I got the job here, I was, I think, the youngest on-air person in the newsroom by a long shot.
Really?
Yeah, and there were all these reporters. They're still around in town, and I remember it was tough because they were the grizzled, vets. They'd been around, they knew everything, and here's me, it's Steph, and it was an interesting first 6 months until I settled in and sort of showed people that I belonged and I could do the job. And nowadays, you see different ages all the time. But at the time, it was a little uncommon. So I just remember coming in and being the baby of the newsroom.
And were you anchoring right away?
I started out as a reporter here. And then they couldn't find their weekend morning anchor. Something happened. They couldn't get a hold of it. One anchor called in sick. The on-call never responded. So then I was third string, sitting in the locker room, and I got the call up. And so I started anchoring. Now, our boss will tell you that he had it in his master plan all the time. But I remember they were like, all right, Steph, I guess we'll use you. It wasn't quite that bad. But they had me do weekend mornings. And so then I filled in on that for a while. And then eventually, just through circumstance, if you're here long enough, right, any job position opens up. And so I just started getting moved into different positions. Anchoring's great for family. I miss reporting. I miss being out and seeing people. I come in and I do my job and it's warm and it's dry and I like that. And I know what time I'm getting off work, but being out there, you do the street stuff. It's fun to get out there and see the cool events and meet people.
It is, because I used to do in-studio stuff my first year at KGW. And now it's fun getting to actually go out and explore. And I'm not from here, so seeing the different neighborhoods and talking to people. But even for me, a lot of times, like, I feel bad because so many of our reporters, if it's snowing somewhere or pouring rain or there's a tornado, they are just out there in the thick of it. And I'm like, hey, I'm inside at the dog park.
Yeah.
Or dog parks aren't inside.
But there is one that's inside. It's got like a pool, for real. Like, it's covered. Yes,
in Portland?
Yes. I don't remember what city it's in, but I remember because Reggie Akey took his dog Woodstock there.
I'm adding this to my list of segments to plan.
Things you know, but I'll tell you, you talk about being out there. I have done that. I have stood in Troutdale with ski goggles on. I have spent way too much time at Sylvan, which there's no accessible bathroom that's close. Like, you have to hoof it to the gas station that's over there, so that's no good. I just saw a post. You know how Facebook is now doing Facebook memories? I saw a post from 2009. It was my first year here. I got here in 2000, my first year here, getting both Christmas and Thanksgiving off. So I've done it. So
my gosh.
if I'm working at Christmas or Thanksgiving, I'm not happy because I've put my time in. I haven't paid my dues. So now you're up. Now it's your turn to work on.
I know, which I got Christmas off.
Good, yay.
Which was one, and I had Thanksgiving Day off because the shows I normally do weren't on Thanksgiving.
Perfect.
So I worked the day before and the day after, but which still, so it didn't really do me any good. I still didn't see my family because they were far away.
That's exactly right.
Like, well, I'll be here not working, which was still nice. Did you have a good Christmas?
I had a great Christmas. So we have one kid. We're one and done. We're not having any more. And well, I was older to begin with, right? And so with my job and my hours and just my life, I'm like, we're set. We're good to go. But when you have one kid and you have all the family now living here, this kid is just spoiled beyond belief. I mean, Santa was generous. Like, we had 3 different Christmases and it was just this zoo, and I'm just looking at this stuff. You know, as she gets older, we'll transition the things into memories. Let's go take a family vacation. Let's go do this. She's 6. I want her to be able to remember those things, so we'll transition that. But boy, do the grandparents have a field day, and her aunties, and it's just, there's just so much stuff. So it was nice, and here's the thing. So when you have kids, you say to yourself, I cannot wait for them to play the Santa game, if you're into that. Not everyone is, but we are. So about 4 years old or so, between 3 and 4, the light bulb goes on and they're like, Santa is real and it's so magical. And I didn't realize this. I thought I'd maybe have this with her until she was, I don't know what I was thinking, like 9? Nope. This kid is already, she's 6. Mom, it's okay if Daddy is Santa Claus and you're Mrs. Claus. And, Al, what would ever make you say that? Well, you know, that's Santa. And she's like needling my arm going, he's a very busy guy. And I'm like, oh no. Like, I thought I'd get another year of magic, but I think this might have been our last Santa Claus Christmas. But then she gets to be a part of the magic as well. That's how we'll spin it from there. So.
Well, my parents always told me, they still tell me to this day, if you do not believe in Santa, he will not come.
So saying, believe in Santa.
Saying, yes, believe till there is no more time. I don't know.
It's so fun. It's such a fun time of year. So I like that I'm off. I like that I'm not trying to juggle, you know, figuring out, well, let's do it Christmas Eve or the day after because I have to work. So I feel very blessed, very fortunate.
Do you guys do a big New Year's celebration?
We do. So back in the day, you'd go out, we'd go downtown, we'd pay, $100 to get in someplace. I hate that now. It feels, I got old. Like, I don't know what happened.
I even hate that, and
You're not
at that point. You're not old either, but I feel like in my 20s I shouldn't be at that point.
Yeah, I was even there early 30s, and then all of a sudden it was like, it's not fun. It feels like amateur hour. So I tend to host at my house kid parties. So we'll get all the kids together, we'll make a bunch of food, and the parents will sit around, the kids tear around. The house is a noisy disaster, and it's exactly what I want it to be. 9 p.m. rolls around, we drop a ball, and everybody goes home, and then the parents, get to put your tired kids to bed, maybe sit up, have a glass of champagne together. So that's what we've done the past few years, and it's been lovely. We're doing it again this year.
That sounds wonderful.
Yeah, what are you doing?
I'm going up to Whistler with my family, and I've decided I'm probably hanging out with the quote adult crowd instead of the quote kids crowd, which is my brother and my 24-year-old brother and his friends, who are very much in as they should be in the we just graduated college, we want to go out on the town and probably spend a bunch of money to go in someplace and then buy a bunch of drinks, and I'm like, my boyfriend is across the country, so I'm like,
you can just hang out, chill with the family.
Like, I'll go with the family.
You know what? You're gonna like it, guaranteed. I'm with you.
Yeah, maybe a glass of champagne, but. Yeah.
Or 2. I mean, it's New Year's. You're not driving.
Maybe 2.
You're not driving.
Exactly. Not driving anywhere. Did you have any random jobs, like first jobs, totally unrelated to TV?
I am glad you asked this. Most people don't know this about me. You name it, I have done it. So we grew up, we didn't have a ton of money. So I started working. Very quickly, I realized that if I wanted things, I needed to be able to afford said things. So I have done, I'm not kidding, I've driven a forklift at a furniture warehouse. Like I know how to put straps on a big TV and like stick it on a forklift. Well, I used to. I wouldn't trust myself these days. I worked at a bicycle shop building Campagnollos and truing wheels. I've worked as a waitress, a hostess. I've worked at a real estate company, a pet store. I've worked, I mean, the list, I've done retail. The list goes, I did a million jobs. I did landscaping, 2 years. I've done a little bit of everything, and I think it made me more appreciative of difficult jobs and not making a lot of money doing those jobs. Even way back then, when you're young, a little bit of money means everything, and it's harder to support a family. But I'm the one who now tips, 20% when I'm at a restaurant, and I do it just because it's harder. It's harder than it seems to make it on minimum wage, and so it's never left me growing up without a ton of money. So, but yeah, I've done everything. The pet store was a blast. We had a cockatoo there, and he would go around. He got out one day. Those little buggers are smart. He actually pulled a key off the wall, unlocked his lock, because you can't do combinations with most cockatoos because they'll figure it out. They're smart enough to watch the numbers line up. So you think you're safe, you hang the key on the wall. Well, if they can get their little foot through the bars of the cage, they'll pull the key. He unlocked it. He let every single bird out in that store. Do you know how hard it is? Do you know how hard it is to catch a finch? Finches are like nature, they are food for hawks as far as I'm concerned. I have never forgiven that bird and those stupid finches because they would bang into the windows and they'd fly away and you couldn't catch them because they're tiny. Oh, it was a disaster. I'll never, never, never forget that.
Oh my God, that sounds like a nightmare. Just being in a room with a bunch of birds that just got let out.
If you have a bird phobia, certainly. And this cockatoo just pleased as punch. She was like, hey, look, we had a party. Sorry you caught me.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
We're going out. Have you ever been fired from a job?
I'm trying to think. The waitressing was really hard. And again, this is 2 decades ago plus. So I don't know if it was fired as much as it was not a good fit. And the reason is I got handed the section in the bar. And so it was a huge section. Normally you might have maybe 6 or 8 tables. Well, I had 12. And so when you got 6 tops and 8 tops and people coming in and they want Bloody Marys and their eggs and it's just you trying to navigate that and not run all your orders into the kitchen at once. So I did that for 1 summer and I was done. And I was like, I'm never getting, I know. I was a telemarketer for 1 day and I walked out. That was a disaster.
1 day?
Telemarketing is the worst job on planet Earth, I think. I'm pretty sure it is. It's the worst.
Wow.
So does that count? And that was me leaving. I was like, bye.
1 day?
1 day. It was
Did you stay the whole day?
I did. I finished my shift. And then I was like, I don't need money that bad.
And you got just some sad little paycheck 2 weeks later.
I will take the bus. This was a mistake.
Wow. Well, at least you figured out what you want. And then how did you eventually decide you wanted to be on TV?
This was an accident. Yeah. I mean, so when I don't work, and you see me sort of outside of the work capacity. It's no makeup, sweatpants. I'm wearing a sweatshirt right now. And the only reason I have makeup on is because I had to come in and do a thing for work. Yeah. So I personally, I like it. I want to be as casual as I can, and I don't like the finesse of this. So I was interested in print writing, and so I wanted to go to the University of Oregon, but I couldn't afford out-of-state tuition. So I had to take a year off and work and save money so I could put myself through school at the University of Washington. And it was all print until I did 1 stint in a TV newsroom as an internship. They're like, just sign up for this. And I did, and there was an earthquake. And it was in Seattle, and they sent me to the Kingdome, the old concrete Kingdome back in the day. Yeah. And there were baseball players, and it was incredible. And I'm an adrenaline junkie through and through, and there is no rush like TV news in a breaking news situation. So as a college student, all of a sudden my eyes snapped open. I was like, this is for me. I mean, it was lights, camera, action. I felt like I was in the scene of a movie. The live truck doors fly open, the photographer runs out and he or she is already shooting, and the reporter has the mic that goes to nowhere, and you can tell it's all but it felt like that. It was so exciting, and then I was hooked. So that's when I then decided, all right, maybe TV is my thing. And my first job, because I looked like a slob, they were like, you can't be on air. You've got to be a producer. And I was okay with that. And then I just slowly started figuring out hair and makeup as best I could. And I've managed to, that's why I won't spend more than 10 minutes doing it, because I hate it.
But that's seems like it would be a lot of practice to be able to get to the point from slob, as you called it, to 10-minute hair and makeup.
Yeah, it's an art form, but it's one that only exists here at work, and then outside of that, it's back to Slobville, happily.
So were you ever in some small little town?
Yes, Yakima, Washington. I was in Yakima, Washington, and I was so proud of myself. I did everything there. So I actually started, again, producing, and then assignment editing, and doing, managing editing, which sounds very fancy, but there's like 4 of you. So it's really like you all do everyone's jobs anyway. And then I started getting, on air, doing a few things on air. And then I picked up the agriculture beat, which you're like, ag? Oh my gosh, it is the biggest beat in Yakima. I know so much about apples, and it drives the economy in Yakima. Like, your average apple is seriously 9 months old. Like, you don't know it. You just assume apples are not a year-round crop.
What?
Apples they put them in a big warehouse and they pump out all the oxygen.
It's like a baby.
Right? See? And then they pump out all the oxygen for cold storage, and then they bring them out when they put them on the shelf, and then the oxygen starts to kind of ripen them up and wake them back up again. It's the wildest thing. Apple warehouses are more fascinating than I care to admit, just so you know.
And I don't even know that, and I'm from Seattle, and I don't even know how many essays, research papers, whatever, in grade school about apples.
See?
In Washington. Still don't know all of that?
They go through and they have, well, this was back in the day. I should clarify. I mean, it's been 20 years ago, so I'm sure technology is different. That's like your grandpa telling you about the cars he used to drive. So technology is different, but back in the day, they would go down these huge conveyor belts and you'd bing them with this wand. Bing, bing, bing. And they'd have a little bunch of buttons on the end of the wand that they could select different grades for the apples. And they would just do it on the fly. It wasn't computer sorting at all. It was basically hand sorted with this magic wand. It was the coolest. I loved it. I love
magic wands. That sounds great. I'm gonna go work for an apple place if this doesn't work out for me.
It's harder than you might imagine too. So
you have, it seems like, traveled a lot, even just in the year and a half that I've been here.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite place that you've been?
Well, Sydney is a home away from home. So I'm half Aussie. My mom's an Aussie, so
you're wearing an Australia sweatshirt right now.
Yeah. So I definitely I plan on going back, not in 2016, but in 2017. There's a big air show that I want to go to there, and spend some time over there seeing family again. And so that I love, but it's such a beast of a flight, and it's super expensive. There's no cheap flight, and there's no good way. You're on a plane guaranteed minimum 8 hours once you get to a connecting city, be it San Francisco or Los Angeles, minimum. And then it's like 21 on the way home. It's just, ugh. So you don't do it very often. But I've got a place to stay there, so that helps offset the cost of that. And then I went to Japan a couple of months ago, and that's a place I'd always wanted to go, and I went with an amazing host. He's Japanese, and he's made it, big here in America, and he's big in Japan, and it was just incredible to see that country through his eyes, and to be able to share in the joy that he had and sort of the native pride of his country. Japan is a place that fascinates me because I like to draw, and it's got a sort of an animation culture to it. And I like that a lot, and I find it just fascinating. So that for me was a bucket list vacation destination. So now that I've checked it off, and I won't ever touch it again. I won't ever, even if I go back, it won't be like that. That was, you know what I'm saying? That was like the one-time ultra special deal. So now I'm thinking Iceland is a place that I really want to go see, because it just it's exotic and different, and anyone could go to a warm beach. There's warm beaches all over planet Earth, right? I mean, I want to go see someplace cool, and now that you can fly direct from PDX to Iceland and go see the Northern Lights and go spend some time in the Blue Lagoon. I don't care if it's all touristy. I want to do that stuff. So that's my next location.
That sounds very cool. I want to go somewhere. You seem like the most Portland person.
Yeah, of the bunch.
Because as you're saying, you don't like to be dressed up a lot.
Yep.
I've seen you brew your own kombucha and
now my own cider.
Oh,
I'm doing my own cider now.
I've also seen you make your own kimchi.
Yep, which I love.
So wait, you're making cider, like hard cider?
Hard cider. It's the easiest thing to do. You could do it 2 weeks. 2 weeks. And you've got something, here's how I describe it. It doesn't taste great, but I made it. So I am super happy with it. You get some of that, like the Portland cider companies and the local, because cider's now the it thing. And I was just ahead of that curve, so I feel so excited. But it's easy. Beer and wine takes brewing and mastering and moving and kettling and all this stuff. You don't have to do that with hard cider. Hard cider is some sugar and some treetop and a yeast package, and ta-da, put it on your counter for 2 weeks, and ta-da, now you have booze.
Wow.
So that's super fun. But like I said, just you have your expectations have to match, right?
Yeah.
It's not necessarily, I mean, it's not bad, but it's not great. I won't wow you with it, but I made it.
Yeah.
So.
And there's can you tell the alcohol content when you make it yourself?
They have this thing called a hydrometer. It's like it looks like a floating thermometer, and you basically measure it when you first create it to see what the density of the liquid is, and then you measure it at the end, and you subtract the two, and it tells you your alcohol percentage. And because I add sugar to it, I boost my alcohol content to like 7%. The normal cider, if you just let it do its own thing, would probably be 3 or 4. So I'm pushing mine up to 7, which is a good thing because I only get like 7 bottles out of the deal. So you get 1 bottle every couple of days before your new batch is done. It's not like I've got 1 little gallon sitting on my counter. But I want to show you how to do it.
Yeah.
Like, and you're a good sport too. You're adventurous. When I'm like, here's my didgeridoo, and you're like, here comes crazy Portland stuff. But you always try it. So you would get a kick out of that because it's not hard to do.
I like trying weird things.
See?
I did try the didgeridoo on air. We said we were going to start a band. We haven't done that yet.
Today's the day. Today's the day.
Wiley, one of our executive producers, had tweeted me when I was asking for questions, which we will get to in a couple minutes. He was like, can you please do a didgeridoo intro for the podcast?
Oh, I should have brought mine.
Which would have been very special.
I just bought my daughter one, a little one.
Really?
Yeah. Because mine are big and they're very expensive. So I bought her a less expensive one that if she breaks it, she can take it to school if show and tell day or whatever. And I should have brought that.
Smart.
Nuts.
So you, I think, did you start playing didgeridoo like a year ago?
Yeah, when I went to Sydney this last time. So I was older than I had been the previous time when I went there, and so I was, able to strike out on my own. And I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to. My mom and my sister can sometimes. My mom and my aunt, I should say, can sometimes argue like the way sisters do, and I would just have to be like, I gotta bounce, I gotta get out of this house. So I would go into town, and then I stumbled into an art gallery and met a guy who gave me a didgeridoo lesson that was incredible, and I was hooked. And he was complimentary and said, you know what, you are really good at this, and I'm not usually really good at lots of stuff. So I was like, I'm good at this. This is my calling, and so that's where it came from. So, and I love it. It's a beautiful instrument. And there's an interesting history there, if women should play or should they not play, and what the rules are behind that. But the guy who taught me was an Aboriginal, and we talked about the cultural sensitivities of it. And here in the States, perfectly fine. I wouldn't go into someone's, tribal situation and just, hey, let me show you what I can do. I'd be sensitive to that. But women can play, and I enjoy it immensely. And then you learn you can play anything that's like a pipe. So my daughter's like, Mom, play this. It's like one of her, kid tubes that belongs to a toy. Or there's even a guy on YouTube. He goes around and does nothing but play construction equipment in New York. What? It's hilarious because that's all a didgeridoo is, really. It's just a hollow tube. So,
wow.
The more you know.
Yeah. How would you describe a didgeridoo for people that are listening and they're thinking, I've heard that word, but I think that's how I felt when you told us last year. I was like, I know that that's something Australian, but I have no idea.
So it's a cultural instrument primarily used initially by the Aboriginal population there, and it's used in ceremony and things like that. And as time has gone on, it has moved into the city and become a big part of art galleries, and you have to be careful where you get them from so that they're sourced appropriately, typically made out of hardwoods, a lot of different types of eucalyptus if they're Australian. But every culture, not every culture, you can find didgeridoos all over the place made out of all sorts of things. The last one I bought, before I got the one for my daughter, was from a guy in Newport, Oregon. He makes them out of an agave stock. So and it is my absolute favorite didge. I love it so much. It's got this big bell end, so it's really super loud. But if you're at home and you've never seen it or heard it, you can certainly Google it, didgeridoo. If you figure out how to spell it, you deserve a prize. But it's just a hollow tube. And the acoustics inside, the bend of the tube and the way it is and what it's made out of, all make a difference in how loud it is. Some are really quiet and hard to play. Some are really noisy and easy to play, and they have different keys. So that's why I have so many, because I've got a D, a B, an F. I mean, that's how you end up with quite the collection.
I was just thinking, relating to New Year's, it reminds me of a much larger version of those stupid little things that you blow into. You're like,
yeah, but it sounds way more relaxing than that. Those little things make me, and the what are the ones they use in soccer? The vuvu.
Oh,
do you know what I'm talking about? Vuvuzelas.
Yeah.
That noise makes me want to stab my eardrums.
So for a more relaxed New Year's, try the didgeridoo.
You can meditate.
Let's see. Oh, I saw you did a Reddit AMA, which
Yeah.
stands for Ask Me Anything. Was there anything super weird that somebody asked you on there?
You know, people, well, you know me, so I'm comfortable with social media. So when I said I was doing a Reddit AMA, they're like, oh, Reddit, oh, okay, well, here, you have to prepare yourself. Well, if you spend any time on the Portland subreddit, you know it's fine. You know there's always going to be that person, but that you just choose to answer them, they'll eventually drop off, or you can go ahead and address them. My AMA was one of my more favorite social things I've done since I've been here. I've done it twice now, and I loved it. It is such a fun group of smart people. If you ever need to figure something out in Portland, you hop on that subreddit and you ask, and there is someone there who has got it dialed in and can tell you like that. I mean, it's a good group of people. So the occasional troll doesn't bother me at all. There was someone who had taken a video and edited me together. You know, we used to do the live stream on KGW during the commercial break, and they had edited together clips back to back to back that made me look like a total jerk. Like I really could have cared less about the story or whatever. But it doesn't bother me. I mean, I know who I am and I know the things I care about. And if you choose to edit something to look that way, then cool. I mean, it doesn't knock yourself out. And someone was like, hey, have you seen this? I was like, huh, why? I look like a jackass. I mean, I'm not, but that's funny. And that was that. And then we talked about they were curious about how the TV station works and, you know, story selection and all those things, and I was happy to talk about it. So if you haven't done it, you should.
I haven't. I've thought about it, but then I'm like, oh.
You had the same reservations, didn't you?
Yeah, and
Don't
it's like,
worry about
what are they going to ask? What if nobody's on there?
Well, they'll definitely be on there, but also keep in mind too that I didn't do it till I'd been here for a while. That's the other thing. I mean, had been here at least, I want to say, I'm guessing 12 years before I did my first one, because so I've done more than at least. So at that point, you've got some history too.
Yeah.
So for what it's worth, but don't worry about the crowd. They're good people. They really are.
Do you get a lot of feedback, positive or negative, from viewers?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I'm so tired of you emailing me about my hair. Like, when you know the other thing that drives me nuts, I now tune it out. If you'd start tweeting me about what I'm wearing, I'd mute you. I no longer see it. You can tweet me all you want. I don't see it. And it's because people feel a sense of ownership over the way I look that they do not have. And what they don't realize is that for every person who's like, I love your hair, someone else right behind you is going, I hate your hair. That blue sweater is my favorite thing you wear. That blue sweater is atrocious on you. So I'm done. I don't need to hear from you what works. I need to hear from my boss, and boy, do they tell you. So, and then that's all I really need to care about, because they're the ones writing my paycheck.
Yeah.
So I hate to be so direct about it, but I'm over it. And I've had people do crazy things. Like there's a woman, she used to call and leave me voicemails anonymously and suggest plastic surgery options for my face because oh yeah, absolutely, found me super distracting. People constantly, I put on weight after I had my daughter, and people were brutal, telling me I was a horrible mom, setting a horrible example for her. People telling me, I mean, you name it, like the stuff that people come up with, I think the average person finds surprising, because you would never in a million years like do something so cruel.
Yeah.
But it doesn't bother me, because at the end of the day, that's a sad life when you have to reach out and tell someone they need to fix their face, or that they look disgusting to you. You would never do that to another human being unless something is inherently wrong with you. And at the end of the day, and I've said this before, all the time you've spent talking about me has told me nothing about myself, but everything about you. Mm-hmm. I know who you are as a result of what you're up to, and I want nothing to do with it. You don't impact me. And watch me continue to have my life and do exactly what I'm going to do regardless of you. So, for what it's worth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently hair is a common thing. When I talked to Kathy Marshall a couple weeks ago, she said, that's what everyone says. They talk about my hair.
Yep. And you just can't. You're like, okay, hair and clothing choices.
Exactly. What are you going to do?
Right?
Now, speaking of what people say about you.
Yes.
But these are more questions. So we got questions from the Twitter sphere. First one comes from Greg. Superset Greg is his Twitter handle.
Okay.
Asked, what is your actual height? Sally got the same question.
I love it. Well, Sally is like a foot shorter than me, and I'm short. So I am, on a good day, 5'4", which I think is not necessarily super short. It's not tall, but it's also not like 4'11". The issue is I'm surrounded by giants. So Brenda Braxton, I swear she's like 5'10". She wears those huge heels.
And she always wears heels, yeah.
So she's huge. Russ is 6'2". Brian, our new weather guy, is like 6'4" or something. I think he says he's 6'3", but I don't believe him. I think he's 6'4". And then there's
he
me.
rounds down. You and I round up.
Right? And then there's you and I, and so I have to stand on this stupid box because I'm too short. I can't hang with everyone. They look ridiculous next to them. Especially when your weather guy's a solid foot taller than me.
Well, when I do the morning show, you have the box, and then I come in there, and I'm just running over back and forth, so I don't have time to bring a whole box over there. So then I'm on my tippy toes to try to like...
You're on your toes, and I don't know if you notice this, but the first thing I do when you stand next to me is I jut my hip out because it drops me down about an inch. So I actually try to like level it. I do it like, and I stand on my socks too. So.
Someone did ask, Steele at Blue Snowy Mountains, said how high is the black box she stands on at work?
High enough to kill me if I fall off of it. That's why, so I used to wear my shoes standing on the box, and I can't feel it. I can't feel the edges. And I'm like, I'm gonna pitch off backwards. So now I stand on it in my socks. So when you watch the morning news, and the worst is when I have a hole in the toe of my socks, I get so mad. So I take my shoes off so I don't pitch off of it. Even though it's carpet, you can't tell where the edge is with a thick-soled shoe. And I can't wear heels. I can't do it. I know Brenda does, but 2.5 hours, not a chance.
I don't know how she wears heels the whole time.
But she also wears a dress every day. I've never seen her wear pants ever, and I wear only pants. I don't wear dresses unless I have to.
See, dresses are nice though because if you have it, it's just one thing. It's not like, oh, what pants am I gonna wear? Or is my shirt clean? Or, you know, is everything to match? Just one thing. I don't wear a lot of dresses at work either because a lot of times... Then for me now, since I'm outside usually, or at least out in the field somewhere, then you have to put tights on. So it's still 2 items of clothing.
It's easy. I have a whole bunch of pairs of black pants. I'm not kidding. I don't go come on, we just talked about this, right? I have a whole bunch of pairs of black pants, and I have solid colored blazers that I only wear at work. So I put them on right before I go on the air, which is why I'm sitting here in a sweatshirt right now, and I take them off as soon as I'm done, and then tank tops in different colors, and that's it. It is like a uniform. I treat it like a uniform, and it's simple, and I get the job done, and then I put the pants in the washer because I have to do laundry every day. When you have a kid, you do laundry every single day.
Oh, gosh.
And
that's why I could not have a kid right now.
But it's easy. So that's a secret. Just like 3 pairs of pants that are black and black socks, and you're good to go.
So it's always black pants?
Pretty much. I have a brown pair that I feel like I'm gonna like try, and I actually was gonna wear them today, and then I changed my mind because they were wrinkly, and I was like, oh, I hate ironing. Like, I'm the last person that's gonna iron something.
Especially at like 3 in the morning.
Right? No way.
Not happening.
So we went, look, black pants. I'm wearing black pants right now.
I've got black pants too. Ian Carmel.
Oh, I know him. He's in Los Angeles right now doing his comedy thing.
Oh.
He's fabulous. He was on a show before he moved to LA, and he's a real funny guy. He's done stuff with Conan before, and he's a good dude. So, hey, Ian.
Hey, Ian.
Shout out.
He asked, can you dunk? And if so, why have we never seen you dunk?
Dude, I will dunk on you any day of the week. I will wreck you. You won't even know I'm coming at you like a dreadnought, like a freight train.
Perfect after the height question also.
5'4". Now let's discuss exactly what we mean by dunk. Like, is there a ladder involved? Can I have a trampoline? I've got a shot.
You know, in like the NBA All-Star Dunk Contest, they can use all kinds of crazy things.
They can flip. They can do all that stuff.
Yeah.
I played at basketball with Kobe Bryant at the Olympics of all places. And
Casual.
It was actually great. It was super fun. He dunked. I'll never forget it. So I'm backed up underneath. It was who could make the first shot. And I knew I was going to lose, but who gets to say they did this with Kobe Bryant? Right? So I'm standing underneath the hoop, and he's coming at me. Not like he's going to run me over by any stretch. But I'll never forget, he just walked up and like just dropped the ball in. I was like, oh man, I can't even underball this. Like, and so like, forget it. So I totally lost that round. I had to pay him $15, and he took the money too. So
which Olympics was this at?
Competitive, Beijing in 2008.
And how did this? So like, I've reported at Olympics. Never have I ever come even close to having basketball playing with Kobe Bryant.
You never get a chance to go see the actual Olympics, at least not here when you're covering them. You're working, you're looking at little monitors. It was the time zone in Beijing was just right to where you could actually be done at 6 p.m. and it was the middle of the night here, so no one needed you. So you could, if you wanted to forego sleep, you could go check something out. So I went to go check out basketball, and it was amazing. I had the most, that's a story, it would take me 10 minutes to tell. I'll tell it to you sometime over a drink because it was the coolest thing ever. But part of that was me getting back into the holding pen where all the reporters are to see my crew. Like, hey guys, what's going on? How are you doing? Well, Kobe gets off the court and he just walks right on by. They are not doing media interviews. He's talking to someone, he gets delayed, not a reporter, but he's like talking to someone, And so I'm leaving. So I'm walking by the chute on the reporter side of it, and he's on the athlete side. And I look up at him, and I don't know what possessed me, but I pulled out some Chinese money, and I snapped it in front of his face. And I said, I got $20 that I can beat you back to this live shot platform. And he took off running. He took, and all the cameras just went whoosh right on him because they're like, why is he running? Why is this girl running? Who is running way far behind him now because I have a backpack and I'm just whatever.
And so it's Kobe Bryant.
He gets back to the live shot platform and he throws up a hand. I'll text you the photos after this. You got to see it. He throws up his hands and he is gloating. And my crew, the NBC crew, is like, oh my God, she just got Kobe to come over for an interview. So it was great. Like everybody won. So then when I saw him, then they started sending me to basketball practice. I was the basketball. Go Steph, you're going to go. We need you to get Carmelo Anthony.
This is my dream.
We need to get Carmelo Anthony. You need to talk to all these people. So they sent me to basketball every day. And LeBron James was there and all those guys. And I was like, I got $20. I can take first shot. And he's like, oh, it's on. So then here we are playing basketball, and that's when I got dunked on. So thanks for asking, Ian.
That
you just
is
took me down
amazing.
memory lane.
So yes, you can dunk, but not if it's against Kobe Bryant.
Exactly.
Another comedian. I like this. All the people that are tweeting
The funny people.
questions. Aaron Ross,
Okay.
here in
For
Portland.
sure.
He said, "Is there quality you have from your childhood that you will never get rid of?" I like that question.
Quality from my childhood. Drive. It is like a laser focus when I need to accomplish something. And I'm not like that all the time. I'm not super high strung. I am type A, but I definitely can reel it back. But when you grow up and you realize that you want something more from your life and you take the steps to get there and you have to do it yourself, you have an appreciation for that never leaves you. And my first boss, I'm in Yakima again as a producer because I don't look like I can be on air, said to me he's never seen someone with a more laser focus. His name was Dave, and he was like, boy, you are just like a pit bull. You just decide that's what you're going to do, and you hang on to it. And it served me really well, and I picked that up as a kid, working hard and trying to make a go of it. So for that, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for my experience because it reminds me daily how fortunate I am. I don't ever forget how lucky I am to be in the position. It's hard work. It's not just luck, but I'm grateful for it. I'm glad things worked out the way they did.
Mm-hmm.
So
That is a good answer.
yeah.
Marconi,
Nice question.
Yeah. Marconi Baloney
Oh,
used to live in Portland.
I love
now
all
he's
these
in.
guys.
I know. First question, how many pet rats do you have? Do you have pet rats?
Oh, so okay. I know what he's referring to because I just posted a photo on my
I saw
Instagram.
that, but I didn't know if they were your pet rats.
Of my hood rat. So I had rats in college. If you're going to have a small animal, do not have a hamster. Do not have a guinea pig. They're not bright. Rats are incredibly intelligent, and if you could just pretend, oh my gosh, they are so smart. And if you could just pretend they had a furry tail, it'd be like a squirrel. But instead, they have those unfortunate tails.
Because people want squirrels as pets.
Well, I don't know, more so than a rat, right? With
Yeah.
I hear that from people. So like their tails are just yuck. They're amazing. They're so friendly and sweet and intelligent. I mean, you could teach them to do all kinds of tricks. And so my neighbor, she's got 3 rats, and my daughter's been begging for them to have a sleepover. And so she's home from college, and so she brought her rats. So the rats got to spend the night with us, and they're coming over again New Year's Eve. And so little ratty sleepover. And
my goodness.
they're the friendliest girls. They are just cute as buttons and so sweet. And yeah, they're good. They're good little rats.
And can you buy rats at a pet store? Or is
You
it
can.
like
Yeah, you
find
can.
them on the street?
As someone who worked as a pet store, I will tell you, yes, you can. The one thing that you want to do if you can is try to get them when they're little. Because once they're older, they get a bit set in their ways. But when you get them when they're little and you hold them a lot, then they get really used to people and there's no issues. You go to a pet store, you don't know. There's an age range supposedly when you buy from a pet store, but if you can, the shelters have them. A lot of kids, they go off to college or whatever they can't take the rats. You can find really great, fun house rats that just need a home. I know, right? I'm the rat lady, you guys. But for real.
This is great.
Yeah.
Better or worse than cat lady? I don't know.
I love it.
Marconi also wanted to know, what is your favorite emoji?
The middle finger one.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a new one, right?
It is
that
a
in
new
the
one. That
bunch?
and the unicorn I use in heavy rotation, but the one that's top, you know how I don't know what it's like on your, because you're not an iPhone girl, but
No, I can't have the new ones.
So you don't get so what you see is an X. You don't get any of the fun.
Someone commented on an Instagram of mine the other day, and it was just 3 X's.
You're like, what does it mean?
I know.
So, but the other thing that comes up is your most recents, and the one that I use the most by far is the laughing one with the tears. That's the one I use the most, but my favorite is the middle finger and the unicorn. Yeah.
Usually used with the middle finger, is it usually used like you are serious about it, or
No,
more of a sarcastic way?
It's usually, this is true, usually has something to do with me being mad that it's Monday and I'm working, or I'm just exhausted and I'm working. And so it's a text message, like Russ and Brenda and I will text each other during the newscast, because you never trust your microphone, right? You never want to get caught saying something. So we will text each other, and usually there's a middle finger involved for me, because I'm like, screw this, I'm exhausted. No.
I wish we could just have a live stream of your phones.
Nope. That would be bad.
Like, we don't have to hear what you're saying in commercial breaks. We just want to know
it's
what
like Mystery
emojis you're
Science
sending.
Theater 3000, but with the emojis that are running underneath the newscast. This is what she just texted Brenda during this story.
Yeah, we don't need the headlines.
It's a new
We just
type of
want your
crawl.
emojis.
Yeah.
That would be great. They could do that on like Hody.
Oh, I'm sure they could.
Hoda and
They get
Kathy
to drink
Lee, like,
during their newscast, and it's like 10 in the morning. That's easy.
I was watching that part of that this morning. Thought it looked great.
See, I gotta watch. When I'm not doing work, I don't know, and especially now with my shift, I'm off at 7. There's reporters out there who work for other stations. I don't know who they are, and it's an that never used to be the way, because I used to be out in the field, so I'd see everyone. You get to know everybody. Well, when you're not in the field, you don't know who anybody is unless you actively watch the other stations, which I can't. I don't have time for that, and I don't want to watch the news when I'm not working. I get enough of it at work.
See, I'm out in the field, but I'm not usually where anybody else is.
Yeah, you're doing the fun events.
I still don't know, so I'll be up in Seattle, and someone will be like, oh, I know so-and-so at that station. I'm like,
who? Yeah,
I'm really sorry. Like, I don't want to. I know. I'm like, look at their Twitter. I'm like, oh, I might follow them on Twitter.
Yeah, that's fine.
There's a large chance of that, but I don't. Yeah, because I'm usually not where anybody else is.
Yeah.
Patrick McGee.
Sure, old
And I
swang.
know you saw this. Wanted to know how you got introduced to the air show folks and invited to their convention.
So one of my jobs back in the day, this was pre-TV, I worked for Boeing Defense and Space when they were working on the program. At the time, it was the Joint Strike Fighter and the YF-22. And it kicked off a love of military aviation, big fast jets in particular, not the historical stuff so much. That came later, but for me, it's big fast military jets. And so then, as you know, I told you the story how I sort of ended up in TV quite by accident. Well, as a result, I took a media flight with the Canadian Snowbirds in Yakima, Washington, where I was the agriculture reporter.
Benefits of reporting in Yakima.
See? And so I got to take a flight with them, and they're the jet demonstration team for Canada, and I was hooked. And that was that. And then I met my best friend to this day. Her name's Darlene, and my crazy Canadian. I've got this network of incredibly talented women and men in Canada in particular. I know lots of Americans too, but I've just been we joke I'm the token Canadian, so I go to a lot of Canadian air shows, and our air show here, which I love. I mean, we do a really good air show, and it's very well run. As a result of that, they need help sometimes with media, and the performers do, or whomever, and so I will go to them and offer to help just for free because I love the industry so much. It's the most fun. When I'm 80 years old, should I be so fortunate to get there, and I think back on my life and the things I've done, some of the most fun memories and experiences and the most incredible people I've ever met are a result of air show.
Wow.
Seriously. So I'm passionate about it to this day.
That sounds fun. That sounds scary, but
it's
fun.
not. I got to take you. You would love it. You would absolutely love it. You really would.
One more question. Okay. Zach Johnson.
Oh, Zach. He has a segue. He is a big segue guy. Hi, Zach.
He's asked a question on a couple different episodes, and everyone knows who he is. So we love you, Zach.
He's great. He's cool.
And I want to segue. He wanted to know what's your favorite Olympic moment. I don't know if it's the Kobe one. So how many Olympics have you gone to?
Oh, like 7. Yeah, I've been to a lot.
Just my dreams.
Yeah.
Just my dreams.
Well, so here's the thing. So the ones that stand out to me, obviously the Kobe, because it was spontaneous and it wasn't planned and it just worked out great, and he was a great sport about it, and it's a wonderful memory. But for me, one of the biggest moments that jumps out, and I've had a ton, was Mariel Zagunis winning the gold medal in her first ever fencing event. And the moment of her basically coming down having won, and she saw me, and I'd covered her here and her story, and the event didn't exist. It was a new event, and an American took it, and like our eyes locked, and I lost all semblance of journalistic, impartiality. I mean, that when you're at the Olympics, that doesn't really exist for you anyway. It's a different expectation based on what you're covering. You're covering, human stories, and to cover them well, you need to have a connection to the people you're covering. Mm-hmm. That's how I do it. That's why they send me. Not everyone does it that way, and that's fine. But oh my gosh. She's crying, I'm crying, we're hugging, she's sweating, and I'm like, this woman just won the gold. It was, I won't ever forget it. It was very, very special, and I have photos of her. Then she gets whisked away because she's got to do all the big talent, right? She's like, Today Show folks are here, and all the big networks who've spent all this money to have access. They're like, you're going to talk to them first. But I have a shot of her, and she's looking over at me, and she sticks her tongue out during this live interview with someone else, and I was like, that's my girl. That's amazing. Another really, really important memory for me that I really love.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
My gosh, I want to go back to the Olympics. The last questions come from me. They are a few would you rather questions that I've come up with.
Oh, good.
First one, I'll ask you the one that I've asked everybody except for Sally because she's not on air, which she doesn't want to be, I learned. She would never want to be.
Yeah.
Would you rather go on air and forget everything you were going to say, or go on air and prompter's not working, or go on air and burp loudly in the middle of the story?
Oh my gosh, I would burp loudly because I would laugh at myself. Forgetting stuff happens all the time, but I'm usually comfortable. I'll tap dance till I remind myself what it is that the original question was. I usually get back to it, but I would totally, I'm that girl. I'm not the classiest. So I think that actually, it'd be funny for the wrong reasons, but if it had to happen,
and you go viral. Think of all the Twitter followers you would get.
See? I like it.
Would you rather go on TV with your hair all messed up?
It's daily, dude.
And no one told you.
That's
or
daily.
Have the prompter just go blank?
Blanking prompter doesn't freak me out in the slightest. So I guess I'd pick hair only because the trolls are so mean. So they'd be like, one guy told me once, this is the best. He's like, you look really so down to earth and so fun because I don't think you brush your hair a lot. And no. And he legit thought he was sending me this huge compliment. I was like, and I wrote it back. I was like, wait a minute. You're telling me that I look cool because my hair's a mess? Okay.
I don't think you brush your hair.
He said, I don't think you brush your hair a lot. You look really easygoing. I was like, okay.
Was there something else in the message?
That's like when
was he trying to ask you out?
Right. No, that's like when people see you and they go, "Oh, you're so much thinner in person," or "Oh, you're so much." I'm like, now wait a minute. Let's unpack that. What are you telling me? I don't know. So
I got one once at the grocery store. This guy, they're probably trying to be nice, obviously, but sometimes you never know how it comes off. I just got an inner tubing, snow tubing. I was in basically pajamas, long underwear. Hair was a mess. I had been sweating, just was not looking cute, which I didn't care. I was at the grocery store, and some guy came up to me and said, "Oh, you look different than you do on TV."
Yeah.
Yes, obviously. And I was like, what do you say? You don't say thank you. And then he goes, "No, you look better."
And then
wait a minute.
You're just shovel dig. No.
You should have.
No.
Well, you should have just not started it to begin with, but should have stopped after the first comment, because now what do I look like on TV if this is better than what I look like on TV?
Yeah.
I just continued chopping.
Now I just smile and nod.
Some apples.
Smile and nod. They're 9 months old because they've been in a warehouse.
Yeah. Last one.
Okay.
Would you rather wake up super late and not make it on time for the show?
Ooh, I don't like that.
Or wake up late and rush to get there on time, but your shirt is inside out the whole show.
That has happened to me.
It has. And backwards, so the tag's in the front.
Oh. Boy, I'd rather be here and look like a hot mess than to not be here for the start of the show.
Yeah.
That has yet to happen to me, and I don't set multiple alarms. Like a lot of us, as you know, when you've done that shift,
you'll set so many alarms.
Yeah, you'll physically separate alarms, like one that you have to get out of bed to turn off. I don't do that. I only set my phone, and every so often I forget to set that alarm, and I have yet to miss the start of a 4:30.
Knock on whatever the desk is made
I'm knocking
out
on
of.
my head right now, so knock on wood. Please don't let that happen to me. So I'd rather just look like a disaster, but be here.
Oh my gosh. Well, are you doing the morning show tomorrow?
I am.
Well, I hope that I didn't just jinx you.
I blame you. I blame you.
That is a wonderful point to end on. Any final words? I guess today, when this goes up, it is New Year's Day, so happy 2016. That's insane.
Yeah, happy 2016, and thanks for letting me be a part of this. And you know, I hope you guys like it. As you know, I'm out there, and I do like to chat. That's why I know who these people are. When you're like, oh, it's Old Swing. Oh, that's what. So I do pay attention. And thanks for being awesome all these years. Like I have the best viewers, and I feel like they're more than viewers. I really do, legit. Like even though I don't go to their house and we don't sit down and barbecue, I legitimately look at their posts on Facebook and what they tweet, and it's just, I feel fortunate that I've got, I think, just the best people out there who have been super supportive. So you guys rock. Thanks.
And you are at Steph Stricklen on Twitter
and
right?
Instagram
and everywhere,
and Facebook now and all that. So
see, I wish I could say the same, but. Not Steph Stricklen, but I have to add things to the end because people will steal my name.
I do. I get there first and I try to park the URL as fast as I can.
I try, but I didn't have Instagram. Like they didn't have it for Android for a while after iPhone. So by the time I got there, it was too late. So you can tweet Steph. You can also tweet me at Cassidy Quinn or us at KGW News with the hashtag StationBreakKGW if you ever have a question you want to ask somebody or a suggestion of who you want to see on the podcast. Because as of now, I have not planned who's going to be next, so you could be a part of that decision. We will see you back here another Friday, as we call it at KGW BTSF, hashtag so behind the scenes Friday. This has been Station Break, and we will see you next week. Thank you.
Nice.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.